Okay, first and foremost, I would have to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bakak Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation, you Akim out to that's pushing this world in truth and sincerity. Amen. Things are starting to heat up on the battlefront because right now, as we speak, the Iranian government, President Yaroundi, or Yaroundi, whatever you call his name, he's poised to have a meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Turkish President Erdogan, whatever you call his name, and that's set to be Friday. That's Friday the 7th. What happened the 3rd of September was the Israeli, them gutter rats, they bombed a base on the border, northern part of Syria, the border, and they killed a lot of Iranians. And it's ironic that you have all three of these nations that set the meet in Tehran, they have a meeting on an ongoing situation in Syria. They all have sanctions imposed upon them by the U.S. government. Isn't that ironic? Also, the United States government is over there as an occupational force because they was not invited there to fight any terrorists. In fact, they are the ones that's funding the terrorists to go over there to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, man. You see, the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and his army was invited over there. The Iranian president and their armies was invited over there. So therefore, you have the U.S. government over there illegally occupying that land, man, and they want them out. But what they did was they have they proxy armies that can do their dirty work. First and foremost, the Russian president Vladimir Putin is accused the American government, which is rightfully so because they had their hand in it, of unleashing chemical weapons upon the citizens of Damascus and the citizens of Syria and blaming it on Bashar al-Assad. And why would he do that? He's winning the war, man. So they're having a meeting this coming Friday, which is the 7th. And what's going to come out of that, man? In November, President Yaroundi of the Iranian, I can't pronounce his name, the president of Iran is threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, man. And that's a strategic location where majority of the world's oil is being exported through there, man. So they close that down, man. You better believe it's going to be a provocation of war, man. Because the United States governments are going to go for that. And all of these nations, what's brewing down is going to be Saudi Arabia, the gutter rats that call themselves Israelis, and the American government, and its allies that's going to go up against Russia, Iran. It seems like Turkey is siding with Iran and Russia, perhaps China. So all these nations, man. And by the way, its allies, such as Great Britain, France, and Germany, they totally against the U.S. reneging on that nuclear agreement that was negotiated by and during the Obama administration, man. So they're gearing up for a perpetual war, man. Perhaps this war may kick off late September, early October, or right when the midterm elections come up in America, man. So we see that we're in the year of prophecy, and all these prophecies are starting to come to pass, man. All these nations are starting to rise up against Babylon, man. And they're going to utterly destroy this land, man. And I'm going to go to Jeremiah, the 1st chapter, and I'll read down to the 10th verse. And I may skip and go to the 14th verse, and then I might go to the Apocrypha. Lord willing, you are going to be edified, man. So I'm just going to get right into it. the word that the Lord spake against Babylon. Now this is right here was talking about ancient Babylon, but now we fast forward it, it's talking about modern day Babylon, man. The Americans, man, because we out there on the highways and the byways, and we pushing this word, man, prophesizing against the modern day Babylonians, which is Esau, the so-called white man. You know? And this is the land of confusion. Look what's going on in this land. Homosexuality, lesbianism, women's lib, the worship of the Queen of Heaven, which is being pushed heavy. That's why Esau, the so-called white man, worships the woman, man. And that's why you got them black unconscious niggas, man. They out there pushing the vibration that the woman is God, man. The black woman is God. That's that Queen of Heaven worship, man. Anywhere in the hell the black woman is God, man. But that's what they pushing. That's them black unconscious niggas, man. But Esau, the so-called white man, they push that Queen of Heaven worship, man. Nonetheless, man, this is the land of confusion. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet, declare ye among the nations and publish. And that's what we do, man. We declaring all the sins, all the wickedness, all the corruption, and the downfall of America, aka Babylon, amongst the nations, man. We out there in the highways and the byways. We out there putting these videos out there week in and week out. We pushing this word, man. So we declaring this amongst the nations. We publishing this word throughout the four corners of the earth, through the internet, man, which is the unicorn. So we out there doing what we have to do, man. We publishing this word, man. We pushing this word. It says, declare ye this amongst the nations and publish, and set up a standard, publish, and conceal not. And that's what we out there doing, man. We publishing this word. We're not concealing the breakdowns, the prophecies, the lamentations, and the woes that's going to come upon America, aka Babylon, and the rest of these nations, man. It says, say Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces. Now, Merodach was an ancient deity that the Babylonians worship, man. If you go into the scriptures, it gives you the account of Baal and the dragon. You know? The end of Daniel, going into Baal and the dragon, man. Merodach, which is an ancient deity that the Babylonians worship, and they still worship to this day. These Edomites, Edom, so-called white man, they worship Merodach. They worship the Canaanite deity, Molech, the Queen of Heaven, which was called the Diana of Ephesus. So all these things, all these deities from the ancient world is being worshipped today, man. Dagon, the fish god. Look what the Pope have on his head, man. It's not that representing Dagon, it's not the representing Dagon, the fish god. So all them ancient deities is being worshipped today, man. It says, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate. Out of the north, talk about first and foremost Russia, man. That's what come up out of the north, man, and make her land desolate, man. Russia and its allies, man. Russia, Iran, perhaps North Korea, China, India, Pakistan, Turkey. Even though Turkey is a part of NATO, but they moving towards Russia, because how is it that NATO is a part of the U.S. allies? They're allied to the U.S. government, but yet the American government, Donald Trump, slapped sanctions on Turkey, man. So they moving strategically towards Russia. Financially, they strapped because of the sanctions that's being imposed upon them. right along with Russia and right along with Iran, man. All three of these nations are financially strapped. That's why you see Russia moving towards using gold and silver, man. The back of their the Russian ruble, if that's their currency, if I'm not mistaken. See, all these prophecies are coming to pass, man. It's leading up to that, to the war of Armageddon, man. It's leading up to the war of, which is World War III, man. We're leading up to that, man. We're leading up, whereas the Most High is going to put in the mind of these dictators, these prime ministers, these presidents, these chancellors, to come up against America, man, with their armies, man, which is going to form a great assembly. And they're going to destroy this land. Right along with them gutter rats that call themselves Israelis. But make no mistakes, certain parts of Russia is going to be destroyed. Iran, China, North Korea, Great Britain, Germany, France. That's how the earth is going to roll to and fro like a drunkard, man. From all these missiles shooting back and forth, man, with the multiple warheads, man. Which is powerful enough to rock this world, man. Rock this earth, man. It says, for out of the north, verse 3, for out of the north there come up a nation against her which shall make her land desolate. And that's the land, and that's the Russians, man. And how they gonna make the land of America desolate? By ICBM nuclear missiles and the multiple warheads that come forth out of it, man. Them and their allies, man. Even American allies gonna come up against them, man. That's prophecy. It says, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove. They shall depart, both man and beast, man. And what's gonna make them move and depart? Them nuclear weapons, man. The endless strife, the sedition among men, and everything that comes before the nuclear missiles hit, man. Right along with them chariots, man. Them chariots, man, spewing, shooting them laser beams, man. That concentrated fire, man. It says, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord Yahweh, their power, man. And that's what we do in the 1/3. Let's talk about the 1/3, man. That's out there in the highways and the byways, man. Pushing the word of the Most High. Seeking our Lord Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah, man. For salvation and redemption and deliverance, man. This is plainly talking about the 1/3, man. The governing body of the sons of Israel, man. Starting with Judah on down to Issachar, man. Seeking the Lord. Because the Most High is bringing the tribes back together, man. Seeking the Lord our power, man, which is Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah. They shall ask the way to Zion, man. What's the way to Zion, man? Do these scriptures, man. Do the breakdowns and the understanding of these scriptures, man. Observing the law, statutes, and commandments. The law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The high holy days. Doing what is right in the eyes of the Most High. Rehearsing the righteous acts, man. It says, they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord Yahweh in the perpetual, in the everlasting covenant, man. And the perpetual mean continue, or everlasting covenant. That shall, it says, that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. How we have been lost sheep? Because the Most High, through Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, 17 verse 5, I think. Let me just get it real quick. Baba Kashah, bear with me. We discontinue from our heritage, man. The Most High just took his name from us and our heritage and everything from us, man. It says, this is Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 5. It says, this is how we have been lost sheep. It says, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. Our heritage is being the chosen being the apple of the Most High eyes, man, being the beacon of light to the whole world, man. And how we was the beacon up to the whole world, we had, because the Most High gave us His laws, statutes, and His commandments, man. It says, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies. And right now we in the land of our enemies, serving our enemies, man. In the land which thou knowest not, and that's the land we in right now, man. We in the land of Babylon, man. It says, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Amen. Slacky. Amen. Like I said, man, that's how we became lost sheep. Because we lost our heritage. Most High took our heritage from us. Took the name of the Lord from us. We become calling His name to be delivered. And we was out here calling ourselves Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Indians, from whatever perspective, tribe, Blackfoot, whatever they was calling themselves. It says, okay. Listen, in those days, back in Jeremiah 50:4, in those days and at that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together among the going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their power. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten, man. Verse 6, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. Who are the shepherds of Israel, man? You got such of the likes as Reverend Jesse Jackass Jackson that caused that people to go astray. You got that jackass Martin Lucifer King. You got this crackhead AIDS bait looking nigga Reverend Al Sharpton. Then you got TD Jakes, Creflo Dollar. You even got men that know that they're Israel, that have taken a 501c3 charter and taken on the spirit of Martin Lucifer King and going out there marching against violence against black people, man. They're causing our people to go astray. Every last one of these men that I've named are causing the sons of Israel to go astray, man. It says, my people have forgotten, it's like my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds, which were these so-called leaders in the black community, have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains, man. How did they turn them away, man? By feeding them falsehood, man. Teaching them to turn the other cheek. Teaching them plantation Christianity. Renaissance Christianity. Teaching them that Esau, the so-called white man, which is Edom, can make it, man. That's how you turn them away from the true way of the Lord, man. It says, they have gone from mountain to mountain, from country to country, from kingdom to kingdom. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Their resting place is Israel, man. Which is this truth, man. Under the shadow of Yahweh Yahweh Shah. They have forgot their resting place, man. Who are they? Who are they, man? They forgot that they're Israelites. Has it been taken from us? Jeremiah 17:5. They're seeking the ways of Esau, the so-called white man, Edom, man. It says, all that found them have devoured them. All the nations had their hand. All these nations had their hand in enslaving the sons of Israel, man. All these nations, man, had their hand in enslaving the sons of Israel, man. Every last one of these nations put forth their hand and molest the Lord's anointed, molest the children of the sons of Israel, man. And they're going to pay for it. It says, Slacky real quick. I just lost my My space, so I got it. Oh, slocky. Okay, it says, all that found them have devoured them, and their adversary says, who's our adversary? First and foremost, our adversary, the number one adversary of the so-called black man, which the Israelites, are the so-called white man, which is Edom, Esau, and then other nations follow. But the number one enemy of you Israelites, started from Judah on down to Issachar, is the so-called white man. Then you got the Arabs. All you got to do is read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, man. And it's going to tell you who's confederate against us, man. It says, all that have found them have devoured them, and their adversary said, we have fed not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers, man. And they know that when we right with the Most High, Yahweh, there's no nation that can come up against us, man. If we're observing the laws, that's the commandments of the Most High, and we're not going off, and we right in the eyes of the Most High, none of these nations can come up against us. None of these nations can touch us, man. We'll be on top. That's why in the kingdom, the Most High is going to put these laws in our inward parts, man. We're never going to go off. Where there's no sin, there's no death, man. Where there's no sin, there's no being overthrown. Hey, man. It's going to be a glorious kingdom. But for now, we bear the indignation of the Lord. And the 1/3 is seeking the Lord, Yahweh, our power, in the land of our captivity. It says, all right, I'm going to go to Lamentations to back that up in Jeremiah 15:7. I'm going to back that up with Lamentations 4:21. It says, Lamentations chapter 2, verse 21. The young men and the old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword, man. This during the time when the Babylonians came and took us down. This is during the time of 70 AD, during the Flavian dynasty, when we was being scattered and taken down, and hence the Romans put an end to the state of Israel, man, where we've been dispersed at the corners of the earth, and we ain't been the same since, man. They have totally destroyed us, man, as a people, man. But guess what? The Most High Yahweh, by Yahweh Shah, is raising us back up. It's raising up the tabernacle of David, man. And guess what, man? Once Esau go down, Esau, the so-called white man, go down, man, and once the end of it's the end of Esau's world, and Jacob is that was followed, man. And we ain't going back. We ain't getting taken out of power no more, man. It's gonna be an everlasting kingdom under Yahweh Shah, man. Us being joint heirs with him. But this is gonna happen. This is gonna be the end of Esau, man. And I'm reading about it now. It says, remove out of the midst of Babylon, man, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans. It's not talking about taking a plane, man, and fleeing America, man. It's talking about not joining yourself unto Esau, the so-called white man, and anything that he has going on, man. We have to work. We have to pay our bills, man. We can use this world but not abuse it. Don't vote. Don't indulge yourselves in anything that Esau is pushing out there, man. That's how you flee out of the midst of this goddamn forsaken place, man. And ultimately, when them chariots, so when the Revelation 18:4 come out of my people, man, those gonna be getting beamed up, man. Those that make it, those that are part of the elect. Abaratazah, I'm a part of the elect. I beg the Most High that I'm a part of the elect. It says, back in Lamentations 2 and 21, it says, their young men, their young and their old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pity, man. Talking about the Romans, man. During the time of the Flavian dynasty, 70 AD. Hey, man. Yo, man. It says, and that's what he meant, all that have found her. I'm gonna read Jeremiah 50 and 7 again. All that have found her have devoured them. And their adversaries said, we sin not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the goats before the flocks. For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon and the assembly of great nations. And that's what we see forming right now, man. First and foremost, they're having a meeting this Friday. Iran, Vladimir Putin, which is part of Russia, to Turkish government Erdogan, and they seeking to come to some kind of solution and how they're going to deal with the America and the West, and it's America and its allies, man. But everything is not going hunky-dory for the American government, because hey, they putting sanctions on even their own allies, man. The Turkish government, they putting sanctions on everybody that is willing to trade with Iran with their oil, man, including their own allies, man. Hey, so the Most High is going to have something happen, whereas even their own allies are going to come up against us, man. Come up against them. And that's what I'm reading now, man. It says back in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country, namely Russia. Then you have China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Libya, Ethiopia. Then you're going to have the American allies such as Great Britain, France, Germany. They're going to come up against America, man. And they're going to put their military in formation to come up against this plan and destroy it, man. It says, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Their arrows represent the nuclear missiles, man. That's going to be shot out of them silos, man, which is going to be the bow that holds the nuclear missile, man. That bow represents the nuclear silo. And not only are them nuclear missiles going to be shot from them silos, it's going to be shot from submarines, it's going to be shot from mobile trucks that's transporting nuclear missiles, man. So it's going to be a great destruction that's going to come upon the land of America and upon the land of Israel, where them gutter rats dwell, man. It's going to be a sword destruction. It says, verse 10, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. That word spoil mean booty up for grabs, man. Robbed, looted, plundered, pillaged, destroyed, man. And all that's destroyed her and plunder her is going to be satisfied, saith the Lord Yahweh, man. And that's going to be the end of America, man. And the first fruits of slave is going to be the ones that make it, which are the elites. It's going to be in them underground bunkers. Also, that's going to be in them, up in them satellites, man. Up in them international place. I'm saying international space station, man. So the elites, the international bakers, they're going to make it. That's going to be only to be first fruits of slaves. What's happening now, right before your very eyes, is prophecy in the being fulfilled, man, because the Most High is raising these nations up to come up against America, man. Like I said, Friday, Iran, Turkey, and Russia is getting together to discuss a strategy to how to deal with the American government and its allies, man. So right now, we're in the midst of the beginning stages of World War III, man, which is the War of Armageddon. Hey, this is the year of prophecy, 2018, man. I hope this shit kick off tomorrow. I hope this land be destroyed utterly from the north to the south to the east to the west tomorrow. But everything is of the Lord. The Most High do things on His time when He get ready to do His things. But guess what? Our main thing is to measure the time diligently in itself and match up what we see on the news with biblical prophecy. Hey, bro, so with that, I hope you was edified. And I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, once again. Bahashem, Wakak Wadash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. With that, Shalom.